Oh my god, I was watching TikTok. Oh no. Anyway, you're here to learn about Kriton, so let's get to it. The boss has two mechanics you'll have to be aware of throughout the fight. Kriton's attacks cleave in a circle around their target. It's about as big as the inner circle shown in this picture here. Realistically though, as long as your arm is wholly crossing from max range, it's not going to be a concern. The other thing you'll have to watch for is the red circle also centered around Kriton's target. You know, maybe, just maybe, they could have made this boss a little bit more interesting than what amounts to two circles centered around the same target. Just, just an idea. Anyway, it does a lot of damage and leaves behind a 10-second debuff called Double Vision, which basically doubles your damage dealt and damage taken. For most of the fight, you'll be taking this while having your RM run out, then goober TL the DPS after. Other things to be aware of, the boss will heal back up to 85% health when it hits 15% for the first time. Once it's actually below 15%, it'll start hitting a lot harder. Here, you'll have to run out of any double vision circles on all characters. Also, at any time during the fight, you can take the exit to return to Huna and re-enter. This is useful for if you need to drop boss aggro for any reason. Let's go over builds next. The builds here will barely survive the biggest hits from double vision circles before Enrage and Enrage auto attacks, so you're probably going to want a bit more stamina than what's shown here. This does mean that you can still die to an unlucky crit from either of those attacks. If that happens, you can take the exit on your RM as explained earlier. Jesters should know that their counterattack works here since the boss will always be in range to trigger it. Personally, I recommend you counter only the circles. The RM build is here for people who reached 161 as a ringmaster and want to bring a DPS friend who hasn't hit 160 yet. Of course, given that buff scale within, you'll want to buff before you switch to the tankier build, or just bring a buffer RM. All that being said, realistically you could just go full stam and be fine. It's not like the DPS requirement is all that high to begin with. Speaking of which, let's go over that. So, as you can see here, the boss doesn't really ask for that much DPS wise. You'll have an hour to kill this thing after all, and honestly, if you reached 161, I really doubt your gear is so bad that you'll have any DPS issues. Right? Well, I guess Elementers probably can't do it. What? Did I say something weird? Why are you looking at me like that? Anyway, gonna point out here that when you're testing on the dummy, don't Holy Cross on your Ringmaster. Kriton asks for a lot of healing, so your RM isn't going to be Holy Crossing a lot of the time. So it's best to get your DPS without Holy Cross, and just let it be a source of extra damage during the fight. I will point out though that if your RM doesn't have 200% DCT, your Kriton DPS will probably be lower than your dummy DPS until your higher level. And that should just about cover everything. Thanks for watching, and I'll see you in the... Oh, that's why you were giving me that look. Yeah, watching TikTok, sure. And who's on the RM running out of the circle over there? I don't even have TikTok.